Today on our 2019 Ford Flex, we're going to be installing Curt's T-connector 4-pole flat trailer connector vehicle wiring harness, part number C56343. This 4-pole flat trailer connector harness is going to provide you with all the necessary lighting that you'll need for your trailer. This includes your left turn signal, right turn signal, tail lamps, and brake lamps. It is a control module that taps into both the driver's and passenger side tail lamp assemblies, so it can monitor the signals going to those tail lights and send the signals to your trailer. What's nice about this is this module has its own dedicated power circuit, so it doesn't use any of the power going to your vehicle's tail lights. So that way if there's any fault on your trailer, it'll only open the fuse going to this control module on your new harness and not any of the fuses on your vehicle, protecting all the wiring on your vehicle. On the end of your harness, you'll have a dust cap. This will help keep out any dirt, debris, and moisture, ensuring a long-lasting connection. Additionally, you can use it to keep the wiring up off the ground by connecting it to your safety chain loop when not in use. We'll begin our installation at the rear of the vehicle with our lift gate open. You'll notice that there's 2 screws on each side that holds in your taillight assemblies. We're going to take out these 2 screws on each side with an 8mm socket. You'll now want to pull your taillight assemblies rearward to release them. Use a trim panel remover tool will make it a lot easier, so you can get behind it and kind of pry it rearward while you pull. Once you've got it removed, we're going to disconnect the electrical connector going to it, press in on the release tab, and just pull outward. We'll set this aside and repeat this on the other side. We'll now take our new harness with the yellow and brown wires. We'll plug one end into our factory connector. The other end we'll plug back into our taillight assembly. We're going to wait to plug that in as we're going to have to do a little bit of preparation. We'll need to drop our 4-pole flat trailer connector as well as the green wire down through the opening here so we can route those to the appropriate locations. Now it's a pretty wide opening, so you should be able to get your hand in there. You'll notice there is like a small heat shield down there. You'll need to kind of just move that over a little bit to get your connectors by. So we'll just start with our green wire. If necessary, you can use a prying device to give yourself a little bit more room to get your connectors by. So we're just bending this up over a little bit so we can get our wiring to pass through. Got our green wire passed through. Now we'll get our 4-pole trailer connector passed through. We'll now take the black wire. We're going to take one end and we're going to route it up through the bottom. So it'll be a lot easier and faster to route it up since this is such a large opening here. And we're going to connect this black wire to the black wire coming off of our module. We're going to go ahead and strip back both ends, and then we'll connect them together with a yellow butt connector. We have opted to upgrade ours from the yellow butt connectors that come in the kit to a heat shrink butt connector because this will help prevent corrosion from occurring by keeping out moisture. We'll then use a heat gun to shrink down the connector. We'll use the self-tapping screw that comes with our kit to mount our ground wire. We're just going to put that here, right behind our taillight. We'll now mount our module. I do recommend using some alcohol before mounting your module. This way it'll clean the surface area and provide a good contact point for the adhesive 2-sided tape that we'll be using. We're just going to put it below the ground wire here. Now, typically I would put the double-sided tape on the back of the module first and then put the module on, but due to the location of where we're going to be sticking it, I am going to put the adhesive on first. We'll then peel the backing off the other side and stick our module to it. We can now reinstall our driver's side taillight assembly. You'll plug your new module's connector into the location where your vehicle factory wiring was plugged in. And then we'll just push our taillight back into place and resecure the 2 screws that we removed. Now we're going to route our green wire and our 4-pole connector. We're going to route them over to the passenger side. The 4-pole doesn't need to go all the way over. We're just routing it over there just to take up some of the length. Our passenger side we want to go all the way over, so we're going to need to route it up into our tail light area. Normally you would use a fish wire to get it up there, but since the opening's so large on this vehicle, you can just reach down and grab it and pull it up by hand. We'll now plug our wiring into our factory connector. This end will plug into our tail light. I do recommend taking some of that excess green wire that you've got here and kind of tidying that up so that way it doesn't sag down and cause any issues down the road. Now that we've tidied it up, we'll plug it into our taillight assembly and reinstall our taillight assembly just like we did on the other side. Now that we've got all our wiring at the back run, we'll need to run our power wire up to the front of the vehicle. I'm going to go ahead and route this wire now, and then I'll show you the path that I took to get it there. So we routed our black wire up above our hitch, along the trunk pan, up over our rear suspension. Here we found our factory wiring where we zip tied it to that and started following it forward. We stayed on the inside of this plastic panel. We came down and then went along our fuel lines here, zip tying it to the brackets along the way, till we came out here in the front. We're going to use a piece of airline tubing as our fish wire. So we're going to feed it down back near our brake booster and try and stay as close to the firewall as possible, feeding that down. Now we'll connect our fish wire to our regular wire here. We're just going to use some electrical tape to do that, and then we'll pull it back up. It's a good idea to look back down below to make sure that the wire didn't get caught on anything and that you actually have it all the way pulled up. We'll now take the fuse harness that comes in your kit and crimp on a ring terminal onto one end. And on the other end, we're going to crimp on a yellow butt connector. Once again, we're upgrading to that heat shrink butt connector. Now we'll connect our fuse harness to our battery positive terminal. So this just pulls up, exposing our wiring here. We're going to go ahead and take this cable off here by removing this nut with a 10mm socket. We'll slide the ring terminal on our harness over that stud and reinstall the nut. Now we'll take our black wiring that we have. We're just going to measure out the appropriate length we're going to need because it's going to connect to the other end of this butt connector. So I'm going to cut it off about here so that way we have a little bit of excess. We're going to strip it back, and that's going to crimp into the other end of this butt connector. We'll then heat shrink it down. Now we can install the fuse that comes with our kit into our fuse harness here. We're going to tidy up the wiring with some zip ties. We're going to plug in our tester. And if you need a tester, you can pick one up here at Etrailer.com. We're going to verify that everything's working properly. Here we have our left turn signal, right turn signal, tail lamps, and brake lamps. With everything working properly, we're ready to hit the road. And that completes our installation of Curt's T-connector 4-pole flat trailer connector vehicle wiring harness on our 2019 Ford Flex.